In today's Sharp Saturday video, we're going old school in a couple of ways. The first way is we're going to take a look at an updated version of an old school classic knife. This is the Tops Ontario XL Hunter, the updated super modern version of a really popular traditional classic knife from Old Hickory. And we're going to use this knife after we take a look at it to try to go old school and make a bow drill fire. And we'll see how that goes coming up next here on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose. My name is Brian. Thanks for joining me for today's Sharp Saturday video, where it's Saturday and we take a look at something sharp. Like I said, today that something sharp is this Tops Ontario XL Hunter, updated version of the Old Hickory. And we're going to try to make a bow drill fire with this thing. We'll see how that goes, because my success with bow drill fires is hit and miss, literally. But first, as usual, today's words of wisdom from the Bible. Today's wisdom is from the book of Proverbs, chapter 14, verse 23 in the NLT version. Work brings profit, but mere talk leads to poverty. And, of course, a big thank you to my friends at Excess Sites for making the only sites that I trust my life to, and for being a channel sponsor. I've said it before, I was a paying customer for Excess Sites years before they reached out to me and asked me if I'd be interested in having them as a sponsor. Of course, I said yes, because they literally are a product I trust my life to on every day. They're the only sights that I have on any pistol that I carry to protect myself and my family. Excess Sights are made in the USA. They are the fastest sights in any light. And if you use the coupon code SOP15, you'll be glad you did. So thanks again to Excess Sights for sponsoring today's video. Now, without further ado, let's get you down to the old stump top. We'll talk about this knife real quickly, show you some close-ups and specs and all that. And then we'll get to doing some of that knife stuff and see if we can maybe make a bow drill fire with this thing. Like I said, we'll see how that goes. Okay, so here is the Tops Ontario XL Hunter. We took a look at this briefly at SHOT Show. Let's talk about this thing. First of all, this is an Ontario and Tops collaboration on an upgrade of a classic Old Hickory knife, the Old Hickory Hunter. And Tops says it like this: Old Hickory geometry and new Tops toughness. Let's talk about the knife, the specs, and then I'll talk about my first impressions of this thing before we get to doing some of that knife stuff. So this is a full tang knife with an overall length of 10¼ inches, blade length of 5.5 inches, so 5.5 inches, with a blade thickness of 0.15 inches. They made this blade a little bit thicker just to make it stronger than, as you know, the Old Hickory blades were kind of bendy. This one is certainly stiff and strong. 1095 steel with a Rockwell hardness of 56 to 58. They also added a really nice blade finish on it. This is Cerakote. This one is Midnight Bronze. They also have it available in Sniper Gray. Another place they did an upgrade is on the handle. Instead of just a flat wooden handle, it's got some contour to it and is red heavy canvas, so it's going to give you a lot better grip when your hands are wet. And it has a bow drill divot on both sides and a brass sleeved lanyard hole. This knife weighs 9 ounces. The weight with the sheath is 13.7 ounces. And speaking of sheath, yes, this one does come with a really nice leather belt sheath. And that's one of the things that people used to complain about a little bit, or at least I think one of my earlier videos was making a sheath for an Old Hickory butcher knife. And if you saw that video, you know that I am not a sheath maker. So anyway, this knife was designed by Ontario Knife Company. And it is not a low budget knife like the old Hickory. This one has an MSRP of around $270. The street price on this thing's around $200, which is about what I would think it should be or will be for a knife of this quality and this manufacturer. It's made in the USA. Nice leather sheath, and very well done. It's because it's a Tops knife, you know it's good. You got some little kind of finger groovages here, nice rounded sides, a little bit of the thumb pinch. You can do a little pinch thing here for fine stuff. And I just think it's a really good looking knife. I know a lot of people used to take an Old Hickory butcher knife and kind of cut it down to make it a little bit shorter, make it look like this. So they've already done that for you. It just feels really good in my hand. It's just, it feels really well balanced. We may have to check that out later. Oh, and I forgot to say also is this red micarta, heavy duty canvas micarta, also has some nice orange liners. So I just think it's not only a good looking knife, a very, very functional looking knife. And one other thing, as you're looking at the handle, instead of just little brass brads or pins, this thing has actual screws holding this thing on. So very, very well-made knife. Now, that's all good, but as you know here at Survival on Purpose, we are all about the science, and we like to maintain strict scientific protocol. And one of the tests I like to do on all knives is to check the sharpness. And to do that, we use the pretty much internationally standard sharpness test, the redneck sharp test. So let's get the testing medium up here. Let's see what we can do with her. Let's see how well she works. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Would you look at all that horror there? You probably can't see it from that far away. I got the camera kind of far away. But let's try the other side. I like to be equal. Man, oh man. Can you see that? This thing, we're gonna have to add tops to the list of companies that didn't get the memo that any idiot knows you gotta sharpen a knife before you use it. They didn't get the memo either. So anyway, there's the first science. Now, before we do any more science, I think we should just get old school. We're gonna use this knife, because since it has a bow drill divot, I was inspired to see if we can make us a bow drill fire. And it's been a long time, literally several years since I tried that. And my success rate is less than 50%, but we're gonna give it a shot. So bear with me and let's see what we can do. Okay, so I dug some sticks out here. I've got this to try to make the bow out of. I'm gonna try to make both the spindle and the board out of this. We'll see how that works. It might be a little small for a board, but we're gonna try it. So without further ado, let's get to it. It's one of the reasons I think it's important to be able to have a knife you can baton with, because that's all you had, and you had to have a fire, which would be the only reason you'd be trying to make a bow drill fire is because you were in bad shape and you didn't have your lighter with you like a doofus. Then this might be what you need to do. It's not gonna be a short, quick video, I know, but okay, there we go. So that's gonna be our spindle. Let me just go ahead and carve on that one for a minute. It's a pretty jacked up spindle. If this works, I'm gonna be probably more surprised than you will be. Maybe that'll be good enough to burn in. Okay, now I'm gonna try to split this out and make a board out of this. I don't know if I can make a hearth board out of this or not. Use the old fat wood for a mallet. All right, put you aside, put back in the sheath rather, so we can hold it safely. Here's where the fun starts, and I'm gonna do something that I've not done before. I'm gonna try this up here where I can actually see it better. And you can see it better maybe. Let's see if I can get this thing on there. Never been really good at this. Go ahead, you can laugh. It's okay, I don't mind. Okay, here we go. This ought to be fun. Are you laughing yet? I know you are. If Dave Canterbury were watching us right now, which he's not, he'd be shaking his head. Let's try again. If you can just stay in place, it'd be fine. Just a little small groove in here. Let's try again. I thought it'd be easier to do it up here on the stump top than to try and get on my knees and do it, but maybe not. Let's see. Okay, a little bit of a sort of a burn in here. Let's see if we can carve a notch. We got a notch cut. I've got a little board underneath it to catch the, hopefully to catch the dust. And let's just see if we can get this thing to spin. Man, I started to get just a tiny little bit of smoke. So we're going to endeavor to persevere. Something Matt Graham told me one time was just don't work too hard. Shouldn't be that hard. So I'm not pressing down too hard. I just want to make some dust. I don't think we got a coal yet. We got a lot of dust, so we got enough to make a coal. Let's see if we can get some heat on it. Still no coal. We got a whole lot of dust here and no coal, so I thought it was worth a try. I'm not surprised that I failed miserably. Who knows, right? It's probably me, but it could be this crappy spindle, this crappy board, whatever. So I tried to speed all that up where you could see it because I'm certainly nobody wanted to watch that in real time. It was pretty painful. So, but we are going to try some other stuff with this knife just to make sure it'll do what we need to do. So, by the way, the bow drill divots worked fine. It wasn't the divot; it was the doofus. We're just gonna carve a few curls here. Okay, that's gonna be enough for demonstration purposes. Now, I want to see if it will scrape some fat wood, because man, I need some fat wood right now. After that, let's just see. And sort of. Not great. Let's see if I can carve some of this. But it's kind of like an almost sharp spine. All right, so the other thing is, we'll scrape a ferrocerium rod. Let's try that. I'm not optimistic after what it did with the fat wood. Again, that's why I always this. Now I've caught my breath. Despite my pathetic display of woodcrafting skills, we're going to endeavor to persevere with the science here, because you know we're all about the science here. And to that end, we maintain a state-of-the-art cutting-edge testing facility at our worldwide headquarters. And this fixed blade knife, you know I want to test the balance, the aerodynamic balance, using the balance, orientation, and rotation device. I think we should do that now before we wrap this up, because I got to have a little bit of fun in this video. And by the way, you see the balance, orientation, rotation device really needs some renewal. I've got the materials to do that, but I wanted to get this video out, so I didn't have time to do it today, but maybe next time. Oh, and don't forget proper scientific methodology. Whoop, 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 whoop. And by the way, I'm sure Tops Knives does not recommend testing your knives in this manner. Whoop, 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 whoop. Once more. Whoop, 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 whoop. Does it seem to you like every time I say once more, there's always once more, once more? Or twice more?
Chuck Norris once won an arm wrestling tournament with both arms tied behind his back.
Okay, sorry for the glare and the crooked camera. I'm in a hurry to get this done before the sun moves behind the tree, so let's wrap this up. So, first of all, do I like this knife? Heck, you know I like the knife. It is really cool. It feels great in your hand. It's a great classic design made by Tops in America with really good stuff. It's just a nice knife. So, how did it perform? Well, as you saw, we're going to give this one the Yak Shaving Sharp Award. It's razor sharp out of the box. Carves well, baton's fine, does everything except for blow on the ember and get my fire started. So, I think the bow drill rivets are good. I'm sorry I was unable to perform for you with the bow drill, but that's kind of the way it works. They make it look really easy on TV, don't they? So as far as balance goes, once you got it calibrated, it's balanced fine. So bottom line, it's a really nice knife. Is it worth $200? That's going to be up to you. I'll say this. I'll say that the price on this knife is in range with other knives of similar quality and construction. So just because it's modeled after a $15 knife doesn't mean it's a $15 knife. So there you go, that's it. Thanks again to the folks at Tops for sending me this so I can show it to you. And as always, thank you for watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival is not an accident, so be prepared. I'll see you next time.